Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. Any of you guys who've been in the hobby a long time might recognize this. This is the motor to a Dynaflo filter, a power filter. And I'm going to get into a restoration of that in a few minutes. But first I want to give a special shout out to Don from New York Gold. He has a great channel. He does a lot of fish breeding and other things that are well worth checking out. And if you haven't yet, you should definitely go to it. I will leave a link to his channel below, and definitely go say hi. And one of the things he's been doing recently, besides breeding goldfish and angelfish, is he was breeding some corridor catfish, and they're doing really quite well. And I asked if he would mind, once the weather got a bit warmer, that he could send me some of the eggs when they spawned. Well, unfortunately, the Corys decided to spawn a little early, and he mailed the eggs off to me. But again, with the current situation in the world, it took over a week and a half for them to get here, which is ridiculously long for something small like that. But so unfortunately, the eggs didn't hatch. Part of it was not just the fact that it took a week and a half, but also the weather's a little wonky up here still. It's still below zero at night, and we actually had snow for a couple of days there earlier in the week. And it just wasn't all around. It just didn't work out. But unfortunately, it was great for Don to give that a try. Hopefully, in a few weeks when it gets a little bit warmer, I mean, above zero at night would be nice. And maybe we can slim down the package a little bit and put it in something smaller. I don't know. We'll figure something out. And hopefully we can give that another try. Of course, the corridors would have to cooperate and everything. But anyway, what I want to do today is I want to restore this. Most of it I've already done. I cleaned up the motor, I oiled it, and a bunch of other stuff that was fine just to do off camera. And I just didn't want to, get into too much of that. It was actually rather difficult to film as well. So now I got the motor here, it's working. I didn't really actually do much cleaning on this part because the owner of this, this is from one of my clients. He's been in the hobby forever, and I maintain his marine tank currently, and he's actually kept this in really great shape, and the motor still runs, which is really kind of cool considering I think these things came out in sometime in the 80s. So that's actually rather neat that something that old still functions. Now, I'm not going to run this on my aquariums for any length of time because it is from the 80s, and even though it's in great shape, there's a bit of corrosion here and there on the motor and the plugs. So I probably just, like I said, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to do a quick restoration on it, show you how it works, and then and how it's not going to mothball it. I'll hang on to it because it's a cool keepsake from a long time ago. But like I said, it's not something that I would trust to run full time in the fish room. So one of the things that was missing is the YouTube. Interesting. So I need to get water into this because this is one of those filters that pumps the water out, and I'm just going to make a quick tube like this. Now, normally what I would do for this is I would do the more recent version, and I would also stick a hole on there to suck the air out. But I'm going to go straight back to the old ones. Obviously the original ones were injection molded plastic, and they were just like a straight U. This is going to be more like a box end. But bending this diameter with this thickness of wall of acrylic tubing is problematic to say the least. So what I'm going to do is I cut the three pieces. I cut the 45-degree angle, and I'm just going to weld them together. I don't like doing this. It's a little bit messy, and it doesn't look professional. I do prefer doing the ones I do now. But I wanted to, I wanted to make this as old school as possible. So this is going to, when I hook this up, you'll understand. Because if anyone who's run those old power filters with those old tubes, there's an interesting way you have to start them, and we're going to get to that at the end. So I'm going to go through this. the nice thing about these old filters, besides the fact that it was in the days when they actually made things that lasted for a little while, they're actually quality filters. I mean, they got replaced. Everything in this industry, eventually they find something that's new, something that they can either make a little bit more money on or whatever, and these things just fall by the wayside. So this is almost done. Well, the Dynaflo filters, I remember when I was a very long time ago working in a pet store, we had a few of these in some of the tanks as an augment. Most of it was run on underground filters, but when these things came along, we would run a few on heavily populated tanks just to help getting a little extra filtration in there. So there you go. The YouTube's all set. And now what we're going to do is make sure that it holds water. Actually, it has to be airtight. But the easiest way of checking that is just to dunk it quickly in an aquarium like this. Lift it up. And then let the water on the outside drip off first. And then just hold it still for a few seconds and make sure that there's no drips. You can see a few little white pieces there in the corners and whatnot. That's the reason why I don't like doing this anymore. It is very difficult to get a really good weld and not have any runoff. And that's, like I said, that's the reason why I don't do that very much. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stick the motor on and show you how it's assembled. And then we're going to put it in an aquarium and get it to work. It's actually kind of a neat little design. It's mag driven. And it just slides in a groove in the bottom. There's no chance of this leaking, in a sense. Like anyone who's run with the current ones, the Aqua Clears, they have a twist seat that they do with a rubber washer, and or an O-ring, I guess I should say. And obviously those things eventually get old and crack, and you can get a leak on there. Whereas this one here, as long as that casing itself doesn't crack, it doesn't leak. It's actually kind of cool that way. Now, obviously, if I was going to run this full time, I'd have to put a cage on the end or a sponge or something. But I'm not going to do any of that. I just want to show you how it runs. The fact that it actually does run is kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, this is just an homage to a really old style of doing things. Now, there's actually a couple other pieces that he gave me that I'm interested in setting up, and I might do some restorations on those as well if there's any interest in that sort of thing. We'll see how this is received, and then we'll go from there. So this is the way you used to do it. Filled up the inside of the casing, and then you had to get an airline tubing. And what you did is you just stuck the airline tubing up inside, and then, of course, just suck the air out, which is it's easy to do, but like I said, this is how you used to do all this. And unfortunately, when I was filming this, my hand got in the way, but you'll get to see it here shortly. There you go. It's not difficult to do. You see how quick that was. So there you go. It's all set and ready to run. Now I'm just going to plug it in, turn it on, and that's pretty much the whole gist of this here. So anyway, I hope you like this. This is kind of a cool look at something that's really old and very rare to actually see one of these things anymore. And as always, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe, and let me know below what you think of these things. And let me know if any of you ever actually even owned one of these. It's, like I said, it's from the 80s, I think. I had to look that up. Unfortunately, the client who owned it and gave it to me, he's not in town at the moment, so I couldn't ask him. So what we're going to do now is just going to turn it on here, and you'll notice after it's on for a few seconds, it actually has a bit of a kick to it. You'll see, watch in a second here, it's going to snap back a little bit, because it is actually pumping a good amount of water. There you go, see? Obviously, once the filter media is in it, and the sponges and all that sort of stuff, it wouldn't move at all. But that's actually kind of cool that it has that much of force coming out of it, considering it is just, like I said, an impeller. It's really old. So there you go. It's running quite nicely. I obviously will not leave this running. It's not a good idea. It's, like I said, these things are cool, but it is the motor here is just too old, and it's also open, which is something else I don't really care for. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.